And lastly in this episode, perhaps the weirdest thing of all is the bizarreness from this episode that leaks into the real world. Now, my whole channel is covering the weirdness of real life people watching the show and just blindly, it feels like to me, it seems to me, blindly accepting the anti-Luthor narrative that I don't think is supported by the series. It doesn't fit what's actually being shown to us in the series. The math ain't mathin', guys. The Luthors aren't villains. But there's a particular weirdness that I encountered with this episode specifically that leaked into our world. This is the kind of stuff that makes me feel like I'm going crazy, guys. Makes me feel like I'm losing my mind. So that scene where Lex comes back to see Cassandra and says, okay, show me what you're going to show me. Let's see what your vision is when you touch me. So I'm going to play you a clip. This is from Talkville Podcast. They're discussing this episode. They're discussing that scene. They're discussing the episode Hourglass, and when they get to the point of discussing this particular scene with this vision of Lex, Tom Welling immediately jumps in and describes something that didn't happen. He talks about one of the things he liked about this scene, and then he describes something that did not occur. It did not happen in the scene. And I'm particularly sensitive to this too, because as Luthor's real advocate, I am sensitive to false advocacy, because Welling comes in this comment from ostensibly from the perspective of I'm trying to defend Lex Luthor, but then he says something that did not occur at all and is not defensive of Lex. It actually is very damning of Lex. There is an implied false premise to what he says that is extremely negative with regard to Lex Luthor. So let's play the clip.
What I really liked, having watched it yesterday, was Lex's reaction, which was like, 90% awesome, but then also like, wait, we need help. We need to help this person.
Yeah.
You could have just stood there and been like, didn't care about her at all, but I thought it's just a little thing that I thought was good.
That's not what happened. Roll it.
What did you see?
I need some help in here. Somebody!
Lex did not see this vision. What actually happened is Lex came in and sat down with Cassandra, gives her his hand. She saw a vision. She died. And the first thing Lex says is, "What did you see?"
What did you see, old man?
Clearly, he did not see the vision at all. And he's looking at her with anticipation and waiting. She doesn't say anything. And then he slowly comes to the realization that she passed away. And he just looks totally unnerved, like really uncomfortable and unnerved. And he gets up and looks for help. And he's like, his hands are sweating. And he's all, which of course, that would be so freaky. You sit down with this person and they're like, they're seeing your future or whatever, supposedly. They're seeing a vision about you and then they die holding your hand right there. That would be really unexpected and would freak me out too. Even if there was no vision involved, just like unexpectedly holding the hand of a person who just dies in front of you, that's gonna freak you out a little bit. It's gonna, agitate you. That's what happened, okay? That's what actually happened. But Welling describes it as though he just takes for granted that Lex saw the vision, which he clearly did not. And then he jumps in as though he's defending Lex and saying, hey, Lex isn't all bad because he was so happy about this vision of him destroying everything. But, there was a part of him, too, though, that was worried about Cassandra. So he's actually not all bad. And I think, whoa. You are just taking as an assumption, first of all, that he saw the vision, which was false. And second of all, that he was happy about it. That's also obviously false. Primarily because he didn't see it at all, but secondarily because what are you seeing? Where are you seeing him being happy? I see anticipation on his face, and then I see agitation. That's it. He's anticipating hearing her response, and then he realizes she died, and there's just like disturbance and agitation. And like Michael Rosenbaum's listening to him saying this and just like, yeah, okay. And I think like, Hey, wait! Do you actually think that Lex is a villain, or do they gaslight you too? Have they convinced you that you're crazy in real life? And to be clear, nope, I'm not meaning this as a personal attack against Ryan or Tom Welling here. I just genuinely don't understand what's going on, okay? No shade. I don't think anybody's doing this on purpose, but that's actually kind of why I think this is weird. Well, it'd be weird either way. It would be weird if people were doing it on purpose, and it's weird if they're doing it by accident. Just the situation is weird. It's bizarre to me that people are not seeing what's right in front of them. And then later...
And I think I felt like there was a spark in Lex of like, if that's the future, I want to change it.
But he didn't know. She never told. She was never able to tell him.
What didn't Clark? Maybe this is stupid. Didn't Clark see his premonition?
Clark saw his.
Why didn't Lex see his?
Because he has superpowers. He has certain innate abilities that I didn't have.
You're right. Dumb question.
Not a dumb question.
No, but it comes across as if Lex saw it, but technically he didn't.
Rosenbaum points out to him, well, she didn't get a chance to tell him, so he never knew. And then like Ryan is like, oh, he didn't realize either. He thought he saw the vision too, which he didn't. And then Welling's like, well, okay, technically he didn't, but they present it as though he did. No, they don't! They do not present it that way. They absolutely 100% present it like he did not see the vision. What the heck is coloring your vision? Okay? We're not in the fictional world anymore. We're in the real world. In real life, what is going on? Why are people saying this? Why was Michael Rosenbaum the only one who knew that Lex didn't actually see the vision? Apparently both Tom Welling and Ryan both thought that he did. Even though it's clearly he didn't. Why is nobody seeing this? Why is everyone just accepting this anti-Luthor narrative that is based in lies? Obvious lies. It's not subtext. It's right in front of us. We gotta talk about this stuff because this is like real life and fictional life, the real world and the fictional world colliding now. They're not characters in the show. They're real people in real life watching the show. For some reason, they're not seeing the show as it is actually in the film. Why? I don't understand. This isn't subtext. It's right there in front of us. But they're not seeing it. What the actual heck?
What'd you say just a minute ago? What's happening? Well, what's happening here? What I need's a couple of good stiff drinks.